It's time for another episode, poo-poo-poo, of the Joshcast. Sorry, that was just me typing. That wasn't the theme. I'm using a typewriter today. I miss the typewriter. I miss this concept of feeling the machine working under my fingers. You don't get that with the iPads and the iPhones and the Hey Siri do this, Hey Siri do that. I feel like whenever I use an iPhone or an iPad, I should be in a hammock. It feels odd sitting at a desk with it. I should be in a hammock. The wind should be blowing in my face as I sit in my hammock in my environmentally friendly eco farm where I cultivate all my own food and everything is made out of hemp. Even the vehicles, just hemp car. Very snug, very environmentally friendly. But a typewriter, that's a different. The typewriter is, I'm at the office and we're getting things done. We're moving things. Things are happening. I just saw a squirrel attempt to cross the street, almost get hit by a car, turn around and run back. And, I say this out of pure love, but it kind of reminded me of my father a little bit, who has had his moments of klutziness that are epic. I think that might have been a Jewish squirrel. I didn't think those things were possible. So how long have you been Jewish? Since I was born. I was born Jewish. But a Jewish squirrel. That's correct. Are there squirrels of other religious persuasions? Oy vey, don't get me started. It runs the gamut. It runs the gamut of persuasions. So what is it like being a Jewish squirrel? Oh, it's miserable. What do you think it's like? Any better or any worse than being a Jewish human? We suffer. We really do suffer. Do you find that you're treated badly by other squirrels who are not Jewish? What we've been through. What we've been through. It took centuries for us to get our homeland back in Central Park. It's the one tree in Central Park. Squirrel Israel. Centuries to get it back. And even now, it's this war is going on between the part of the tree. It belongs to the Palestinian squirrels, and the other part of the tree belongs to the Jewish squirrels. The Jewish squirrels are trying to annex the part belonging to the Palestinian squirrels. I'm a reform squirrel. I'm not orthodox. I'm not an orthodox squirrel. I'm reform, and I just wish we could all get along. I really do. I don't think that any one person, any one religion is better or worse than any other religion. If anything, I'm more of a secular humanist, but I have this nose, so people just kind of brand me as the Jewish squirrel. So what do you do for a living? Panic. Run around and, try to eat and not die. What do I do for a living? What do I look like, a tax attorney? And are you married? Are you seeing anyone? Yeah, I've got time to plan a wedding. Been hit by cars here. I'm single. Oh, I am. Don't get me. Me in a fulfilling relationship. Gay cock enough and yum. I'll tell you. Dating is not easy. You got to be in the right tree at the right time. And I don't know what to do to women squirrels. I don't know what they want. What am I supposed to do? Ruffle the tail a little bit? I've seen other squirrels in the mating process, and it doesn't look enjoyable. They just seem to just run around excited, and I get winded. I could just sit and talk with a female squirrel. We could talk about things, about movies. I see. So you see human movies? No, we see squirrel movies. Squirrels have their own movies. That's right. We have our own studio. It's the tree just outside of Universal Studios. What's a recent squirrel movie that's come out? Squirrel of Arabia. Okay, and I imagine it's an adaptation of Lawrence of Arabia, but with squirrels. Okay. Shouldn't it just still be called Lawrence of Arabia? No, it's Squirrel of Arabia. What would you call Lawrence? No, what? You think any squirrel is named Lawrence? Well, what's your name? What do you mean? What's my name? I'm a squirrel. You got a birth certificate, but yet you have the capacity to, as squirrels, make a movie. What are you implying here? What do you say? I'm a liar? Is that what you're saying? Is that the implication? Is that what's going on? I you know what? Let's just not go there. Let's not go there. Is there anything? Anything you'd like to promote on the podcast while you're here? Any upcoming? I don't know. Do you perform? Are you at any shows? What are you talking? All I do is try not to die. Try to catch part of Squirrel of Arabia, and I don't know, attempt to look inviting to the females of my species. Are we done? I think there's a cat. I don't know. I feel like there's a cat. I need to go. All right. Well, that's the squirrel, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. Jewish squirrel. So in the very beginning of the podcast, I said poo, poo, poo. I was knocking on wood at the time, which is an obsessive-compulsive tendency. I was diagnosed with mild obsessive-compulsive disorder, which means I'm fine. That's how I put it when I'm on stage. What does it mean? It means that I go through these rituals that I think will protect me. I was listening to, I think it was Marin's podcast. Marin, like we're contemporaries. I was listening to the WTF podcast by Mark Maron. And one of his guests was talking about the concept of magical thinking. And it was Stephen Colbert. It was the one he just did with Stephen Colbert. And Stephen Colbert was talking about the difference between magical thinking and faith. And magical thinking is, I'm trying to control God, and faith is, I'm accepting things as they happen. So this is definitely magical thinking. This is me trying to control God. I'm sending emails to God. Hey God, I'm going to knock on wood so that I don't die. Thanks. Do I need to BCC anybody with that? I'm going to BCC, just in case, I'm going to BCC the devil. Not that I'm allying with the devil. I want everyone to know about it. And I don't know, if he can chip in, that'd be great. But I knock on wood. Other thing, I'm doing this less lately, but I'm terrified of getting a brain tumor, so I will do this ritual where I take hopefully they're imaginary brain tumors, knock on wood, poo poo poo, and I blow them up with imaginary mind lasers. I actually go think through that process. It's interesting that obsessive-compulsive thing seems to get worse whenever I'm watching a movie or watching a screen. Not when I'm working, but that gets worse when I'm trying to do something recreationally. When I'm trying to do something fun, like watch a movie where I'm in a situation where I'm not actively working, I don't have anything to do. My mind suddenly goes to, oh, we're going to die! And the obsessive-compulsive comes out. And this is the part where somebody would say, do you smoke weed? And the answer is no, I probably should. It would probably chill me out. But the few times I've been on something, whether it's for a medical situation or whatever, I don't like the feeling of not being totally conscious. So I guess I'm choosing to be sober and panicked. That's the way I prefer to live. I prefer to be sober and panicked. Maybe that's my new catchphrase. Sober and panicked. So, sober and panicked. That's nice. What are my opinions? What are my opinions about the world? What's my point of view? What is your, Josh? What is your point of view? Well, if it can kill you, it will. I think that's my first one. That's why I could never be the lead in a Predator movie. If it bleeds, we can kill it. That's not my view is, if it bleeds, don't get the blood on me. I mean, who knows? It's probably who knows where that predator's been. I'd like to see a neurotic Jewish predator. Now we're talking. Now there's something those Hollywood fat cats they wouldn't take a risk on that. I like that concept right there. Jewish predator. It wouldn't sound like this. It'd sound like this. Great. That's a great 80s bit right there. Oh, there's a Chinese restaurant there. I did not notice that before. I feel like I've driven down this street for years. I did not years, but months. I did not notice that there was a Chinese restaurant there. Love Chinese restaurants. Love Chinese food. Love the whole concept. Doesn't always agree with the good old intestines. I love Chinese food. Just what they do with spices. And I know a lot of the Chinese restaurants, it's not real Chinese food, it's Americanized Chinese food. And I even like that. I even like Americanized Chinese food. I even like the hint of China. I like Asian fusion. Asian fusion, phenomenal. Stir fry, love it. All these different ingredients, mixes. That's great. Because remember, I'm coming from the crew that went, put the lox on the bagel. And then what? You're done. That's what. Then you eat it and you worry. So week 2 or 3, maybe week 3 now without sugar. And I have noticed I've lost a little bit of weight. I'm not pinching as much when I pinch my gut. So that's, I guess, nice. But I'd give it all away for one more Skittle. But I do, mentally, I do feel a difference. I feel more present, I have to say. And I don't know if the sugar, I don't know how much of that was in my head or what, but I feel maybe because I felt like it was an addiction. The fact that I'm not doing it, just the fact that I was able to step away from it. My thought process feels different. I do feel a little less stressed. I'm not happy to admit this. I'd rather I feel 100% better on sugar because it's more fun. But begrudgingly, I admit it. I don't know. Hopefully it's helping my cholesterol. Is this even still a podcast? This is just a laundry list of positive things. I'm getting bored. I gotta go. I can't do this anymore. I'm getting bored. I gotta leave. And then Joshua stopped recording the podcast and he stood and he left. And it was very awkward because he was in the car at the time, and so he fell into moving traffic. The car smashed into a tree. Several onlookers gathered around Josh and asked, "Why did you do that?" And he said, "I had to get away from doing this podcast." And as many of the onlookers were Los Angeles artists, they silently nodded in understanding. And thus Josh commenced a long walk. Walkabout was the term that he learned, was an Australian term, but he learned that from an episode of Babylon 5, which was a great series that they should bring back. But unfortunately, it is out of J. Michael Straczynski's hands because the rights are owned by Warner Brothers and they refuse to release it. And thus did Josh ponder these things as he went on his walkabout, until one day he encountered a wise man sitting naked under a tree. "Hi, I'm a wise man." I'm sorry? "I'm a wise man." Okay, that's nice. I don't have any change. I'm a wise man. Good. I don't generally like talking to naked people. Well, it is as they say. If you can't talk to a naked man, how can you talk to a man with clothing on? I've never heard that phrase before. Well, it's out there. It's in one of the obscure Buddhist passages. It's the sixth realm. It's in that book. I don't think that's a book. What did I tell you? I'm a wise man. Ask me anything, I'll give you a wise answer. Well, all right. How do I build an online following? The question of the age. How do you build an online following? With tears, but they must be tears of joy. And that's it. Tears of joy. That's your advice. It sure is. Who said that you were a wise man? Why, I did. I was wise enough to see it. I figure the wise men were the kinds who say that they're not wise. They're not sure. Nope. I'm wise. I know it. Always been wise. Born wise. Born wise. Never done something stupid. You're sitting naked under a tree. I know. Smartest thing I could be doing right now. How is that the smartest thing that you could be doing right now? All right, everyone is under arrest. Who are you? We're the Gestapo. It's happening again. We're rounding up everybody. Not just Jews this time, everybody. Except for naked people who sit under trees. The hell kind of a Gestapo is that? The Squirrels have taken over, and they are pissed off. There's going to be a lot of changes around here. A lot of changes, except for people who are naked under trees. Squirrels like them. They're amused by them. But as for the rest of you, we're gathering you up right now. Would it help if I said I have a podcast? Oh, no, those people need to be shot on sight. I gambled and I lost.